don't. Okay.
Hi,
Good.
everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Varro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. As you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I'm very excited to be interviewing Nora. Hi, Nora.
Hi, Jasmine. Thank you for having me.
No,
today.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I've been looking forward to this live. But before we get started, can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a active coach, and I live in Berlin. I'm Lebanese and German. I live here with my family. I was a political scientist by training. I'm a political scientist, but I've changed career into coaching in 2020. And since 3 years, I'm a full-time coach only. And I work with people from all over the world here because I coach in English, German, Arabic. So my clients are global, everywhere, different time zones, online. This makes it possible.
That's amazing, Nora. I'm really looking forward to this topic. And I have to say, I've had so many comments and questions about this. So it's a really hot topic that you've chosen. So you chose chronic stress, burnout, and the Russian syndrome, breaking the cycle. Can you tell us why you chose that? What does it mean for today?
Yeah, actually, because if you live our modern life, you are stressed out. Almost everyone is chronically stressed and really fatigued and overwhelmed. So many people, it resonates with many people because many people are facing that at the moment. And the term rushing syndrome actually comes from the book by Dr. Libby Weaver, The Rushing Woman Syndrome. But the rushing woman syndrome, but that actually applies to everybody, man, woman, all genders. If you live in our modern world and you live a stressful life, fast-paced life, this syndrome applies to you. And this basically means the rushing syndrome means is the health impact that we experience as a result of having a never-ending to-do list with no proper time for rest and recovery.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, like I said before, I think you've chosen such an important topic. And as you mentioned, so many people are stressed, haven't got time, so many things to do, on the verge of burnout. So I think it's a brilliant topic. So where do we start? So I guess the first question would be, what is chronic stress, burnout, and the Russian syndrome? Like, what is it in your words?
Yeah. So I'll start with chronic stress. We are, as humans, designed with our ancestors developmentally to sustain short periods of stress, where we were living on the savannah, we run away from a lion for a few minutes, and that's it. 5 minutes, you either survive or you get eaten by the lion. But unfortunately, in our modern life, most of the time, thankfully, we are physically safe. Most of the stress we experience is psychological from from having a never-ending to-do list, from trying to really having multiple tasks on so many fronts: work, family, personal relationships. So this keeps us in a constant state of stress, and then the stress hormones are going through our bodies for a long time, and this is when we call chronic stress. And of course, this has an impact on our health, mental, physical, and emotional health. We unpack that later. And then fatigue is, overwhelming. Fatigue is when we are tired for a very long time and we don't get proper rest. And overwhelm is the feeling of anxiety we feel because we have too much in too little time, and we're trying to be everything for everyone. We're trying to take care of everyone. And then in the end, we feel we are not enough. And this results in overwhelm and anxiety. And the rushing syndrome is basically rushing when you're trying to be there on all fronts, to be something for everyone, taking care of everyone at work, in the family, personal, in the relationship. And then you end up really stressed out and depleted in the end.
Wow. And even, no, thank you for explaining that. And even when you're explaining everything, it's like, I'm thinking, wow, it's just so much, isn't it? I can just imagine how many people are identifying with one or more of these things that you've just mentioned now. You know, like you said, we're trying to be something for everyone, everything for everyone. It's so true, isn't it? Have you personally experienced burnout or chronic stress? Like, what
Yes,
made you
of course.
desperate?
I'm a
Yeah,
busy mom. I have two kids.
do you?
I parent most of the time alone because my husband travels for his work. I'm trying to keep a job. I have children. It's the rush hour of life, as you call it. I try to take care of the family, of friends, of meeting expectations, of running to all the classes, of meeting all the deadlines. So I'm like everyone else. Yes. So people ask me, "You're a coach. Are you stressed?" Yes, of course I get stressed. I'm like everyone else. Of course, I have the tools to reduce that overwhelm and stress, and I use them the best I can. But yes, some days, of course, stress takes over, but I try to recover from that. I'm aware, so I do the best I can to
Mm,
leave time for rest and recovery, but I'm like everyone else. So
yeah.
if you have fatigue, experience fatigue, if you have headaches, if you have difficulty with sleep, digestion problems, any of those symptoms, I think, yeah, almost everyone experiences one or many of those at different times.
Yeah, no, I love what you said about the awareness, because I think that is so key, isn't it? Because I've had periods as well, where I've been so stressed out, and people have tried talking to me saying, why don't you just, relax, or maybe don't do that today, or prioritize. And I'm like, but no, I have to do this, and it's okay. And it's like I just had, like, I didn't have any awareness about what it was doing to me, and I just thought it was normal, and this is what I need to do. And I see that in other people now, where they're so stressed out, but they think they don't even know they're stressed because
Yeah.
it's just completely normal, that fast pace and that stressful feeling.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true, actually, this observation. It has been normalized. Now there has been almost consensus on the medical community that the biggest epidemic is stress.
Oh,
So many people are stressed all the time that we tend to think it's normal, that it's this is how things should be. We
yeah,
forget that there's another way of being, and it is quite difficult to prioritize. It's not simply prioritize or write a list. It's not that simple because we all
no,
can make lists, and we are good at time management. Modern life is really complicated. We are asked to do multiple roles and multiple tasks all the time, and that could really overwhelm the best of us. It's we're all human. We're not designed to handle this much and multitask this much. The
no,
expectations and demands on us weren't this much even 2 decades ago.
you're right. And even like with social media as well, of course, that's
I think,
causing a lot of stress, isn't it? Because it's, there's emails. I mean, you have different email accounts. I mean, it's just, there's no break. There's no respite, is there? Wherever you go, there's either an email, or, I mean, you could just be at home all day and completely stressed out and not moving at all. Whereas before, I guess if we were stressed, we might have been stressed because we were running around. But now you can just be so stressed in one place.
that's very, very true and important what you're saying, Jasmine, because social media is one of the biggest source of stress. And the latest research says that women between 20 and 30, who are a bit younger than us, maybe a decade, their main source of stress is social media, because it puts pressure, it puts comparison, and people turn to it for their self-esteem, to measure themselves if they are enough or not. And the
Yeah.
answer is most of the time, you're not enough, you need this or that, you're lacking this or that. And it causes lots of stress and the constant flow of information. So one needs to be really intentional of how one protects themselves from social media, how
Wow.
one puts boundaries on it certain times, because this is one of the major stressors. And it's,
Yeah.
again, psychological. There's no lion chasing you, but it
Yeah.
creates the same effect in the body. It raises adrenaline and cortisol.
Yeah. And so, what would you say are the early red flags of, say, burnout or any of these things
Yeah.
that we're talking about that people maybe ignore? Because
Yeah.
there's,
So
there's always signs, isn't there? There's
yeah,
always,
if you're experiencing headaches, For no reason, many headaches. If you have
Oh,
difficulty
yeah.
sleeping or
Mhm.
maintaining sleep, sleep and headaches are one. If you have digestive problems or excessive acidity in the stomach is one of them. If you have muscle aches and tensions, many women have hormonal imbalances, or you don't ovulate that month, even PCOS is.
Really?
There is a really long list of that. Weight gain is one of them because of cortisol, and because when we don't sleep enough, we tend to eat more. The list of symptoms is not ending, but the biggest signs really when the stomach hurts, acidity, headache, difficulty sleeping, anxiety, heartbeat.
Wow. Wow. It's no, definitely. So okay, so where do we start then? So imagine, there's so many people who are probably watching this who are stressed. Maybe they're on the verge of burnout, or they're having their physical symptoms. Like, what do we do? Where do we start? Because I know we don't want to give too much information, because sometimes the solution
Because
can be
then we get more overwhelmed and more stressed
Exactly.
about how to deal with stress. There's a lot
Exactly.
of info out there. I try and like to keep it simple. So, for example,
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in the pyramid of the doctor's thoughts. It's called the life force pyramid. And at the bottom
Okay.
of this pyramid is the body, then the relationship to self and relationship to others. So if I'm to start somewhere, I would start with taking care of my body. And that involves three things. So if we start with the body and take care of our own body, that solves 80% of almost any problem. Not all, but 80%. 80% is good enough. That's what the research says. So if I'm
Okay.
going to take care of my body, first is sleep, take care of the sleep, and movement. Second is movement, and third is healthy nutrition, healthy food. I'm not speaking of diets or losing weight. I'm saying proper, healthy,
Yeah.
uh, wholesome nutrition with whole foods, not processed. So sleep is like fix the sleep. Easiest, go to bed in the same time every. Do we go into that into details or a bit later?
No,
But I
yeah,
would
that's
say we
fine. Yeah.
start with our body. So to fix
Yeah.
the sleep, the simplest thing, it's simple but not easy. Go to bed at the same time every night. And then when you wake up in the morning, try to see sunlight. 5 minutes if you're in a sunny place like Dubai, 10 to 20 minutes if you're in cloudy and rainy place like Berlin. So go to bed at the same time. And when you wake up, see natural light. That helps a lot.
Okay.
Fixing the
Okay.
sleep is the single most important
Yeah.
parameter.
Yeah.
Everything. It sounds simple. It is simple, but not easy
Sometimes you
to.
can't sleep. Sometimes you can't sleep, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And that is why having this routine of going to bed at the same time helps.
It
So
does
then
help.
most
Yeah.
of the time you have a routine. There are days where it won't work, but then if by far and large, most of the time you're getting enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours a day as an adult, that should be fine. Of course, there are exceptions and days where you can't.
Yeah. Okay. So sleep. Okay. I definitely agree with you.
Sleep,
Sleep is the most.
movement, anything easy. It doesn't have to be a fancy sport or the latest state of the art Pilates class. Just walk, movement, move your body, whatever that is for you. If it's dancing, if it's walking, as simple as that. If it's any kind of sports, if it's yoga, if you go to the gym, if you
Mm.
do more, that's great. But if you're not the athlete, simple as walking, even 10 minutes of walking a day, as little as 10 minutes can do wonders to the body. It reduces the stress hormones in the body. And
Definitely.
food, healthy nutrition is different for everyone, but the most important tip, in my opinion, is to eat whole foods, not processed foods,
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
processed foods really increase the stress hormones in the body. They are stress on the body. So just eat whole, real
Yeah.
foods.
And a lot of processed food is not even real food anyway, is it?
Yeah.
It's not even.
No.
It's not
Yeah.
even food. Like, what is
Yeah.
it? But yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, and I like what you said about those things, because most of the time, maybe not sleep necessarily. Speaking from experience, you can't always control
No.
the sleep, but you can control your movement and what you eat. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good place to start is do the things that you can control. Yeah,
Control what you can. Control what you
control what
can.
you
And
can.
you need to start
Exactly.
somewhere. And if you start
Yeah,
somewhere which you can really control is your body. So sleep is
yeah,
less controllable. You can do everything you need to do to have a proper sleep hygiene. Put the screen away 1 hour before, put the phone outside the room, go to bed early, but sometimes you can do all that and not sleep. Yeah, that's very right. We're not
Amazing.
like a robot or a computer, but we can control the food we eat, what we put into
Yes.
our body, and we can control movement. And it doesn't have to be really so much or fancy. Everyone doesn't have
No,
time.
no,
And some people simply don't like sports, but just walking, the most natural thing.
exactly. Right, we've
Uh,
got a question here on Instagram. Hi, Sam. How are you doing? Sam says, we kind of been talking a little bit about this. You have. What's one simple habit that professionals can start today to reduce stress and avoid burnout?
okay. I have a mental habit here. If we're not speaking of the body, if we're
Of course,
speaking of the
whatever you
body,
like.
it's better sleep. If you speak of a mental one,
Yeah.
it's what I call what is called a brain dump. I would do a brain dump. Mel Robbins founded this this concept of a brain dump. So you bring any paper, whether if it's from a spiral book like that, copybook, you get a paper,
Okay. Yeah.
or from the printer, you grab a paper and you write on it everything on your list, everything on your mind, everything that comes to mind with no order. Every
Brilliant.
single thing. It doesn't make sense to anyone. No one else would understand it, but you write everything from I need to feed the kids to finish the list to the deadline to the clean the garage to the tank the car. Every single thing you have to do, you write it with no order, and you will be amazed. You might even write up to 15 minutes, and then you will have more mental clarity because you'd be
Yeah.
really amazed what's the mental load you have been carrying.
So
So
true. Oh,
you
I
can
love that.
put it in three categories like work, house,
Oh, that's a
and
good idea. Yeah.
personal. Work, house,
And
and
what,
personal.
sorry?
And then write everything you have to do for work. Everything. And then for personal, buy my friend a birthday gift. Answer that message. Call
Oh,
that person back.
yeah.
Call my mom. Everything for the house. Like I need to do the closets, clean the garage, clean the fridge, clean here and there. I need to pay this bill or that, and then everything
Brilliant.
for work. And then you would be. It's really relieving. And
Oh,
once you
yeah.
do one mental a brain dump a day, like
Oh,
really,
yeah. Oh,
once a
I
day,
love it. I love
once a
that.
day.
Most mornings I do write a list of what I need to do. But I think this is even better, the brain dump, because you're actually writing even more things. Because even when I just write a list, because when I'm getting ready in the morning, I start thinking, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. And then I start feeling stressed. But it's like, okay, just write it down. And then when you write it down, you realize it's not as much as you think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's not
writing
as
is,
much as you think. And if you write that list, I have an old trick because I always look and say, is that really necessary? Am I going to do that? Really?
yes,
Am I
yeah.
really? Is that really? Am I going to? And cross three things out of your list. Most days you can cross three things out and nothing happens. They were not that necessary. But when
Yeah.
the list is so long, the mental capacity and space they take is so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes we carry things and we put things on the list where we know we're not going to do them or get to them, but they're on our list, weighing down on us and just
Oh.
making noise.
What should we do with those then? Cross them out?
Cross them out. Yeah.
Just cross them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
That's
have to question the list. Is that really necessary? Is it important? Is it urgent? Is it not? Am I really going to do it? Do I want to do it? Most of the things you can also remove if you don't really want.
Is it urgent? Do I want? I love this. Just simple things. Brilliant.
Yeah.
We've got another question from Patrick. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing? He's talking about boundaries, which is, I guess, really important as well.
Yeah.
With so many demands on time and energy, what's the best way to set boundaries without feeling guilty?
Yeah, that's a very, very important question. And that's a tricky one
Thank you.
because
Yeah.
sets boundaries without feeling guilty. That's the key. If we're speaking on time and social media, that's easier because there are apps to do that nowadays. You put apps which put time limits for screen and media. But if you're
Okay.
speaking of boundaries with people, here is where
Yes.
we need to do more work. If it's
Not
with
easy.
family, we need to talk to them openly and tell them like this and this day I'm busy and I have this and I would need this time for myself and then I can give you that time. You need to communicate with people, especially with family or your close colleagues or your people you're working with. You need to communicate with them that now I'm on vacation. Please, if it's not urgent, I don't want to take any calls or take work with me or something. If
Yeah.
it's family, we need to communicate with them, even with small children or our partner or extended family. We need to set the boundaries for ourselves and make sure to communicate it with others kindly,
Mm.
but also firmly. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Not
another
easy. Mm.
not easy, but with
Yeah.
practice, you can start with small things. Like I
Yeah.
need 1 hour to make my presentation, to work on my presentation. And in that hour, I would like to have it for myself. That's before taking days or weeks or that vacation or something. You can start with little things, practicing to say no. And then you make it in bigger things. It takes practice. And
Mm.
with time, it can get bigger and bigger with boundaries.
That's true. Also, I think sometimes, I know you mentioned this at the beginning about not feeling enough. Sometimes you might have to dig even deeper because there might be a limiting belief, yeah, that's I'm not
Yeah.
enough, and maybe that needs to be addressed. Maybe start some healing before you can actually
Yeah.
say no.
Actually, when we're trying to help everyone, when we're trying to please everyone, when we're trying to be everything to everyone, from at work and at home in the family and with our partners and friends, it really stems down if we try to take care of everyone else's needs first.
Yeah,
And then our needs become rarely met or not met at all. This stems from the really, really deep limiting belief of I'm not enough. And usually by 7 years old, most of us have developed this feeling of I'm not enough. So here comes the work with the self. I mentioned the pyramid. There's the body, then work uh,
yes,
on myself, connection to self, and connection to others. With connection to self, reflection, self-awareness, whether one does coaching, therapy, journaling, brain dumping, all these things help to get to know ourselves and our limiting
brilliant.
beliefs and see where is this feeling I'm not enough stemming from, because this leads us to try to meet expectations which are impossible, and we're running behind a moving
Exactly.
target all the time, and this leads our list to become endless. And when we really are aware of this, then our list becomes shorter and shorter.
No, brilliant, brilliant. Can you, if you've got a link to that triangle, if you could put it on the
Yes.
LinkedIn post,
Yeah.
because that sounds really
Sure.
interesting. No, thanks, Nora.
Yeah,
No,
I can put it in the comments later.
amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. And so, yeah, no, I agree with, yeah, everything that you're saying. So, what else do we need to talk about with this important
Yeah,
topic?
when it comes to relationship to others, this also helps in reducing stress a lot. A very important tool we can use is a very famous one at the moment. It's from the Let Them theory by Mel Robbins. Is to basically focus in our relationship with others to control ourselves, our responses, and what we can do, and not to try to control others. Because as
Yeah.
long as we are trying to control others,
Oh,
even
it's
with
so
our
true.
children, we will be constantly stressed. And when we start saying let them, then this liberates us from the stress of
Wow.
being stressed about someone else's behavior.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not also enabling people or enabling bullies are going into that territory. I'm talking about the norm within normal stuff. But you can then, after you say let them, say let me, what I can do, what is within my control, and I do it.
I think that's probably one of the best questions to ask, actually. Um, what can I control in this situation? And
Yeah.
what can I let go of? It's just so powerful, isn't it? Because I think exactly what you said, the feeling of stress is when we're really trying to control everything and fight against what is. It's
Yeah.
like, so it comes again about, comes back to the point of accepting, letting go, all of that. But it's really, I mean, we're talking about it, if it's easy, it's really not, is it? Because there's so much inner work that needs to be done to be able to get
Yes.
to that point.
Yeah.
But
But it's the awareness. Is this within my control, what I'm trying to change? And if the answer is no, we should try to let go. We need to try to. I don't like the word should, but it would be helpful if we try to let go. That's not always easy, as you said,
yeah,
takes lots of inner work. But trying to control others is really puts us under lots of stress. Also, it liberates us. We're not responsible for what others do. Also, it's freeing. It's freeing. So we should focus. What can I control? And as you said before, I can control what I eat. I can control my movement. Sleep a bit less. Then we can see what is within my control. I work on it. I do my best, but I also do my best, and my best on a particular day. And if then my best is not enough, then that's it. We let go. But it's easier to let go when we know that we have done our best.
True. And also, yeah, like you said before, we can control our responses as well if we're aware and if we've done the work, because otherwise you could just react, and you didn't want to react like that, but it would just exploded because you haven't
we can speak a lot about response versus react, but a very quick fix that helps us to get into our parasympathetic nervous system to be able to respond and not react is breathing. Just breathing, even 30 seconds, that gives us time.
Pause. It's always what I find in this whole learning journey of self-awareness, personal growth, and all of that. Most of the time, the answers are just the simple things that we have right here with us. You know, like you said, breathing. If we just learn to breathe properly and breathe when we need to, instead of rushing around where you're not even breathing properly and you feel like you're not breathing properly, you know, we've got it right here. It's free. It's there. You know, I just feel like we have everything right in front of us or within us, but sometimes we're just, I mean, especially speaking about myself in the past, especially always chasing, forcing, looking for something else. And it's like, hang on a minute, if I just stop, let go, and I realize actually I've got everything I need right here, you know, and you can see more when you slow down as well, can't you?
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. We are almost, most of us are like that. Not only you. Before now, you are aware and you see the value of slowing down. That's why they say slow is the new fast. We need to slow down. Everything is there. It's free. We do it anyways. We breathe anyways. We walk anyways. It's that simple. We often look and think there's a magical big solution to something. Or we wait for a coach to tell us something really, really transforming and magical, and that's the But often it's a simple solution, and we hear numerous podcasts, and we are on the shows, and we read, and we see all the videos, and we read the books and the blogs, and they're telling us what to do. And some things are simple, but have we stopped and asked ourselves, are we doing that? Like, am I actually drinking water? Am I actually sleeping early? Am I actually walking? They are that simple, but we need to do them. And it's really like, really, how do we get to
remember? And I guess as well, you know, we can, most of us know what we need to do actually.
Yeah.
But it's breaking those habits, isn't it? But that's, again, it's the inner work, and we've got to do the inner work. Otherwise.
Yeah. And sometimes it sounds overwhelming. Do I have to do all that? Where do I start?
Yeah.
How do I start? What do I do it? We cannot do all that in one day or in 1 week. We could break it down to one step at a time. To say, this week I'm going to go to bed earlier, or this week I'm going to go walk 10 minutes per day, or another week you can stack and say, now I'm going to drink more water, or I'm going to do a brain dump every day. Like I know a person who said, in these 5 days I will do four brain dumps, not more, one thing at a time.
Exactly. No, I love that. No, thank you, Nora. And we're running out of time. I mean, we could talk about this for ages, but I mean, I'm so grateful that you've come on today and shared these tips, and I think what you've shared with us today is so valuable. And just before we go, is there anything you want to say before we go, and how can people find you?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jasmine. Yes, I just would like to tell people one thing at a time. Don't get overwhelmed by trying not to get overwhelmed. Don't get stressed by trying to reduce stress. Just pick one single action you want to do and do it in 1 week. Not more than that. Keep it simple.
Amazing.
And people can find me on LinkedIn. I don't know if you have my name here. I have my website on Facebook.
Yes, if you put your website on the posts and everything.
I am everywhere. So they just write me a message and I'm here. If anyone needs more help, structured help, individual for them, or coaching on
Amazing.
any topic related to that, I'm here. They're welcome. Just write me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nora. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you have any questions, thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any questions or comments about this topic, please message Nora directly. She will put all her details on the post as well, so you can contact her there. Thank you so much, Nora. Thank you, everybody else. And I will see you next week.
Thank you.